In this video, I want to show you how the secret for a powerful drop relies more on how you manage the elements in the break rather than the elements in the drop itself. Let's get it started. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to a new video on my YouTube channel. I hope you're doing great. So through the years, I created so many tracks, and few of them I'm happy to say that they did good. They were working well on the dance floor, and I guess part of it was because the drop was effective. Drop meaning the moment with the highest energy after the breakdown. So I think for a producer that wants to make tracks for the dance floor, understanding how that works is very important. I learned that yes, a powerful drop surely depends on the elements that are part of it, but even more on what comes before the drop, on how you manage the energy when you move from the breakdown to the drop itself. So I would say that the key word here is energy management. I've already shared a couple of videos on minimal improvements on Patreon where I talk about creating tension, managing the energy before a drop, and creating effective drops. So if you wanna dive deeper in this topic, you can head to Minimal Improvements through the link in the description and considering becoming a member. In this video, I will simply show you an example of bad and good energy management on a track that I just finished working on. So here's the track. Right now I try to recreate an example of bad energy management in the passage between a break and a drop. So let's check it out. So I confess it was pretty difficult for me to start from a situation that was alright and try to mess it up to make it sound bad, but I hope you get the idea that when the drop starts, it actually doesn't have that big energy difference compared to the break. It actually seems like it continues and you just put the bass line and the kick in. So let's start fixing it. The first most overlooked energy management method is volume. During my private coaching sessions, I realized that the most common mistake is a bad management of the relationship between the levels of the elements that are in the break and the levels of the elements that are in the drop. If you have a very loud break, then what comes in the drop will feel weak compared to it. So let's first fix this. Here, for example, I try to exaggerate the volume of this sample here. I have this part here. And this is technically too loud if we compare to what is here. You can feel that it's covering everything. So let's take it down quite a lot. This is a bit better. So now I feel a little bit more that when the drop comes, the kick, the bass line, and everything else are louder than what comes before in the break. So this is the first thing. But of course there are a lot of other mistakes here that I'm going to tell you about. The second very important thing for an effective drop is another keyword that I want to introduce, which is contrast. When we talk about a good drop, we always feel and perceive a big gap in the energy, in the type of energy, I would say, not just the energy level, but the type of energy from the break to the drop. Usually in the break, the energy type is tension, is focused more on the high frequencies, is focused more on musical elements, while on the drop, the contrast comes because we substitute all of that type of energy with energy that is more focused on the low frequencies, the kick power, the bass line, the groove, okay? So how do we create that? Well, contrast can be created in different ways, I would say. The first one is actually breaking the chain, breaking the connection between the breakdown and the drop by taking away some of the elements that are in the break when the drop comes, and adding in the drop elements that weren't in the break. I hope that's quite clear. So let's move to a real example. So the first element that I really wanna take away and get rid in my drop is this sample actually. So if we consider moving from this situation to this situation where I stop this, this is the gap, the flip I'm talking about. You know, we had this important element here, and probably our attention was mainly focused on that, and now we move our attention to something completely different. So we have like you know, an important let's say moment of realization that is, okay, now we have the bass line, now we have the kick. The same applied to what comes before. So I take away something I have in the break when the drop starts, but I can also take away from the break something that comes in the drop. Okay, so the first one that I really want to take away is this 16th hat. Okay, this one here. Because this is giving a lot of energy when the drop starts, and in the break maybe I don't need this type of energy. So if I stop it here, for example, or maybe even here, so here's the break starts. So I have a sort of pre-break with the kick filtered. And now I have the break. I might want to take away also this straight up beat. Okay, I'm gonna take it away from here. Okay, and then the drop, the main hat starts. We have another main hat here that was already taken away. We have this, we have this. Okay, maybe this I will leave it because it can help me to keep some, you know, rhythm and prepare me for what's coming. But we will see another technique to make it smoother, to make it fade away slowly before the drop and then come back in. But we have other elements that we can take away. So for example here, the bass line is actually already filtered. This is something I forgot to make it bad by not filtering it in the break. But consider if the bass doesn't get filtered, the drop will be less effective, okay? Let's check it. Because I still have those low frequencies. Okay, completely different from having this where the bass line disappears. You have the low frequencies that are not present in the break and that comes back in the drop. Super effective, very common technique, of course, I would say. You could decide if you want to filter the bass or completely get rid of it in a part of the track. In this case, I think I prefer to keep it but filter it. Another element that I could take away is this one here. So this sort of arpeggio that I have here. So I filter it a little bit, both down and up. So gonna create a bandpass filter, but then I take it away here. I was not sure, at first I did this, but then I thought, okay, it creates more impact if it comes all of a sudden when the drop starts. So this is how it worked. Goes away and then comes back in here. Quick break to tell you that this project was released on Patreon on April 2025. If you're watching this video any other month than April 2025, but still you'd like to have this project, you'd like to learn more from it, explore it on your computer, well, you can just subscribe to my Patreon and send me a message. I'm coming from the YouTube video about energy management. I will personally send you the project even if it's expired. Back to the video. The last two things I want to show you that are really helping to create this contrast is through filtering, okay? We already did a bit of filtering on the bass line. I already did a bit of filtering on this arpeggio here. So I didn't manage to create a super bad situation to start with because I forgot to remove something. But anyway, still this one, okay, it's creating a lot of okay contrast, but this taking this away all of a sudden without, you know, shaping a little bit the way it goes away, I think is a bit too much. So I think it would be good to filter it out slowly, something like this maybe. Let's see. So maybe not that quick. Let's do this. Okay, so since it's a very important element in the break, you can decide if you want to take away abruptly or if you want to fade with a filter the moment it goes away. Another thing that is not fitting with the way I created this break are these hi-hats. You know, you have this thing that goes kind of towards a low frequency, okay, low frequency shift. Through filtering, but then I still have these hi-hats that are clean and bright here before the drop. So the same thing with filtering I can do on hi-hats. So here I have a filter, I place a pinpoint here and I take it down like this. You can decide a curve. If you don't know, if you press Option or Alt on Windows, you see these curves appears on the mouse and you can shape like a curve. Maybe I want to start it a little bit earlier. And it closes down. The opposite I did on the snare here. You can see I have a filter on the group and it opens up close to the drop. It becomes slightly brighter. So here is the thing, you know, you have something that goes down, something else goes up. And this is, again, personal choice, but I think it works. I could do even without this snare roll, if I will. But this helps to understand better when the drop is coming. And I think it's loading some energy right before the drop. So the last part of this energy management tutorial is creating this sort of marker of an event that is happening. So the snare roll is a marker that something is happening. Another very important marker is this tom fill that again I forgot to remove in the bad scenario, but this is making a huge impact together with the effects. This I have a riser right before, and then these effects here. So let's check without. Let's take away also the snare and let's see how that sounds. So let's start from here. Of Of course, when you are in the club with the big speakers, the kick stars, the bass stars, you will feel the heat. You will feel it, but it's absolutely not the same thing between this and this. Okay, so that's different, that's working better, that's loading more energy. The snares, the tom feel, the riser here is creating that tension, and then that tension is released. I always suggest to mark the start of an important element with effect, like it can be a crush, it can be a down, how do you call it, something that goes down, something that goes up. You can do it in many different ways. It's surely something that will help a lot to make the drop more effective. So let's once again hear what I had before with the bad situation, let's call it. And what I have now. Alright guys, I hope this video gave you new ideas for better drops in your tracks. If you like this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you want to dive deeper into music production, improve your music, consider subscribing to Minimal Improvements on Patreon. The link is in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.